Hello everybody, this is Joanne from Inspiring Yarns, and I'm going to do a short video to remind you how to start off your crochet with a chain and a double crochet. So first of all we have to make a slip knot, and if you just hold the tail, this is your tail here and this is your working yarn, between your thumb and your hand there, and then just wind the yarn round your hand like that, pop the hook in there, grab the yarn and bring it through, hold on to the tail then, and then when you pull that out you've got a big loop. Okay, and you can just make that smaller to put your hook in, or you can take it out. So I'll just show you again. Hold the yarn in your hand like that, wrap it around your fingers, in through there with the hook, grab the yarn and pull it through, let your fingers come out and then just pull like that. And then what you want to do is pull that so that it's snug on your hook but it's not too tight, because we want to keep things as loose as possible. So the way I hold my yarn is I slip my fingers in between the tail and the working yarn. I grab at the back with my wee finger there and I poke my middle finger out. Okay, this bit here at the front is where you've got your control. All right, so I'm holding my hook like this. Again, you can hold the hook whatever way feels most comfortable for you, and I'm holding it like this. So I'm putting the hook under the yarn, I'm grabbing the yarn and I'm pulling it through the loop, and that's one chain made. Hook under the yarn, grabbing it and pulling it through the loop, 2 chains. Then I'm just going to move my finger and thumb up closer to the hook, because this is what gives me control. And if that gets a bit tight, you can just give it a wee shuggle and make it a bit looser. So under the yarn, hook towards the floor and through, and you just keep on doing that like that. And every time you've done about 3 or so, then just move your finger and thumb up closer to the hook. You don't need to move the rest of your hand at all. So again, hook under, pulling it through, hook under, pulling it through. And I'm suggesting, just for practice purposes, that you maybe do about 20 chain to get started with. Hook under, pull it through, hook under, pull it through, keeping it nice and loose. So now we have a chain. Not sure how many I have there, but that'll do us to get started with. So what you can see now, I always encourage you to pop your crochet down when you've done something, you can see what you've done. So this is flat here and it's a row of V's, and each one of these V's is a chain. So if it had said to do 20, you could count the V's up here and see if you've done 20. You do not count the chain, the loop that's on your hook when you're counting your chain. Turn it over the back, then you can see it looks much more like a chain. Okay, but you want to be going into this flat front side to start with. You will also notice then that, if I just pull this out to keep it safe, that each chain, okay, so that's the first one and that's the second one, and we're going to miss the first one and go into the second one to do our first double crochet. Each chain is made up of 3 strands. There's one at the top, one at the bottom, and then that one in the middle at the back. If you can, go between the bottom 2. Okay, so it's really helpful if you can, when you're stabbing, to go in, not to go up the way but to go down towards the bottom. Just make sure, it means you won't get a nice big hole. Okay, so again, I'm going to hold my yarn in the same way. I'm going to put my hand in between the chain, working yarn at the back. I'm going to put it over the other side here just to make it easier for me, and middle finger out so that I can grab the yarn. So if you remember, we're going to miss this first V and go into this second V. So just going to go in through there, stab in, grab the yarn and bring it out through the stitch. Grab the yarn again and bring it through the 2 loops. Into the next V, stab in through the bottom, grab the yarn, bring it out through the stitch, grab the yarn, bring it through the 2 loops. And we just keep going into the next one. Grab the yarn, yarn over and through 2. I'll just tuck my way through a few more. So in through the next V, heading towards the bottom, grabbing the yarn, bringing it through the stitch, grabbing the yarn and bringing it through 2 loops. Into the next one, grabbing the yarn, bring it through the stitch, grabbing the yarn and bring it through 2. Into the next one, grab the yarn and through 2. I'm just going to go on to the end. And it is really just a bit of practice. And the first row is always a bit awkward because you haven't got much to get hold of. That's why it's easier if you use this Aran weight of yarn and a 5mm hook, and the yarn is in a lightish colour so that you can see your stitches nice and easily and see maybe where you've made mistakes or where it's going right for you. So I'm at the last one here, okay, so I'm just going to in through the stitch, grab the yarn, bring it out through the stitch, grab the yarn and bring it through 2. And keep moving over towards the left there, don't I? So, like I said before, you want to set that down and have a look at it. So that's your first row of double crochet, and that's where you went from there along there. And we want to turn it over and go back along. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is do 1 chain. So that's just yarn over and pull it through, and that's your turning chain. And then I'm just going to set it down and show you where we're going. A wee bit easier, you've got something to hold on to, but this time you're going through each of these stitches here. Okay, each one of these, doing exactly the same thing, but going into the stitch this time rather than the chain. So holding the yarn, holding it in the same way, and this is my first stitch. And again, don't be tempted to go up the way because then you'll only grab one, okay? One strand. We want you to get the 2 strands there through the stitch. If you can see at the top, there's 2 strands there, okay? So that's easily done just by pointing and stabbing down the ways, okay? So in through the stitch, grab the yarn, bring it out through the stitch, grab the yarn and bring it through the 2 loops. In through the stitch, going down the ways, grabbing the yarn, bring it out through the stitch, grabbing the yarn and through 2. In through the stitch, grab the yarn, bring it out of the stitch, grab the yarn and bring it through 2. Okay, so again, I'm just going to fire along to the end. Going in, grab, through 2, in, through 2, in, grab the yarn, out, grab the yarn and through 2, the whole way along to the end. Just got 3 more, 2 more. You can see there's one there and one there, and that was our chain that we skipped. So in through that stitch, grab the yarn, out through the stitch, grab the yarn, through 2, in through the last stitch, grabbing the yarn, out through the last stitch, grabbing the yarn, through 2. And again, set that down. You can see we've got nice straight edges at both sides. So we just do a turning chain, turn it round, and we're going to miss this first, that's the turning chain, and we're going to go into the first stitch, which is here. In, grab the yarn, bring it out, round and through 2. And you just keep continuing like that, and you can do a whole blanket or scarf just with double crochet in the same way. A wee bit of practice every day and you'll soon have double crochet mastered. Okay. Hope that was helpful.